Dropship flying down to the first Forge world. You reflect on your past. Battles. You arrive near the planet, and the Gorgon uses its long-range sensors to find the factory that makes your weapon of choice, the bolter. Marines whose job it is to carry your weapons descend into the factory and begin firing upon the workers, destroying the production lines. You tell them to plant explosives in key parts of the factory. After a short time, one of your men manages to find the explosives, and you begin planting them in the vital sections of the factory. The factory, although automated, still needs a few human workers to keep it going. You tell a squad of Space Marines that you need a few of the workers alive for interrogated. You say, I need a few workers alive for interrogation, we can kill them later. You order a squad of Space Marines to go in and /interrogate the workers. You have a team of speakers ready so you can listen to what is happening while the Space Marines begin walking into the factory. You begin to worry as bolter fire is heard. You see a group of workers surrounded by Space Marines, and you fear the worst. The Space Marines begin walking back out as you hear the radio. All right, found M. You radio to them and ask how many workers they found. One of the Space Marines walks back and reports that only 2 workers remain alive. You look concerned at this news. The radio crackles again. You say you take one back alive for questioning, kill the other one. The Space Marines acknowledge the order and take one of the workers back to the ship. You walk over to the radio and wait for them to finish covering the worker. Finally, you key your microphone. All right, questions. You say you ask him if he knows the locations of any rebel bases or outposts. The Space Marines begin questioning the worker, and you listen into the conversation. It seems that they have found a small rebel base on the planet. The worker says that they should attack it soon as it contains no productive resources, and the soldiers there would be better spent elsewhere. You look out the window and see the factory. You ask your main ship, the Gorgon, which is in orbit, if it can bombard the rebel base you found. The radio crackles again. Confirmed, the Gorgon can fire upon your target from orbit. You look at the factory and think over your next move. You could send a strike force of Space Marines and Guardsmen to attack the factory, although with their current losses they could use a victory. You could also wait until nightfall, and then send your workers inside. You order assault on the factory using 2 Space Marine squads, and a pair of Guardsmen who have sniper rifles. The Space Marines begin marching out, and you quickly run over and grab a chain word from the wall. You look through the gate and see the Space Marines moving in formation towards the factory. You order the sniper team to get into advantageous positions. The Guardsmen begin moving, and you quickly give them orders. Take up positions, I want one the roofs, the other on the side of the building across from the front door. You tell the Guardsmen. They quickly move to their positions. You sit there and wait, occasionally looking through the sniper's sights at the enemy. The Space Marines are now halfway through the buildings. There are gunshots and flashes of light coming from within the factory as your Space Marine squad clears the building of hostiles. There are a few gunshots and a glancing blow with a bolter, but nothing serious. The Space Marines quickly reach your side of the building and begin trying to open the front door. They radio to you that they have cleared the building of all threats and begin trying to open the front door. You watch as an armored truck parked across the street from the factory's loading bay opens its doors and begins unloading a group of super soldiers. They are the largest humans you have ever seen, each more than twice the size of a Space Marine. They wear thick armor that covers them from head to toe and have large rifles strapped to their backs. They are Ogrins, which are a huge and physically powerful abhuman mutant subspecies of humanity, often employed by the Imperium of Man as shock troopers in the Astra Militarum's Militarum Auxilia. You quickly take aim at the super soldiers as they begin unloading their truck. Fire! You shout, and your command team opens fire. You watch as several bullets thud into the monster's armor, harmlessly failing to even slow it down as it leaps out of the truck. You say, I've never seen ogrins wear such powerful armor before. The monstrous creature's armor must be incredibly powerful, considering the thick metal is visibly weighing it down. It runs forward with a roar, swinging a huge pipe filled with metal spikes. You order your soldiers to open fire at the rebel ogrins. You watch as several bullets thud into the monster's armor, harmlessly failing to even slow it down as it leaps out of the truck. You pull out a grenade and throw it. You pull the pin of the grenade out and throw it at the monster, which stops in its tracks. It looks confused for a second, but soon shrugs it off. Super Soldier 1 stumbles forward as you lob the explosive into its face. The grenade smacks into its face and immediately explodes, killing the creature instantly. Bravo team, inbound. You hear on the radio. Oh fuck. Incoming. Lieutenant Becker shouts, as a large group of rebels comes rushing out of the building. Watch your flank. You bring your upgraded melter gun to bear, and fire at the rebels. You bring your upgraded melter gun to bear, and fire at the rebels. Target the heavy bolters. You hear Kiros shout over the radio. We can't. They are on the other side of the building. Rebecca retorts. Well, fucking do something. I'm trying. You barely manage to avoid getting hit by a burst of bolter fire, as you move to avoid it. Damn it. Kiros screams. You say, focus soldiers, we need to regroup, and stand our ground. You quickly crawl forward to avoid the bolter fire. Come on, men. Do your duty for mankind. Kiros screams. Rebels rush out of buildings, shooting their weapons. You charge the first rebel you see with your chain word. You rush forward with your chain sword, swinging it and slicing through a number of rebels before they even realize you're there. You move quickly, dodging fire. Here we go again. You mutter. You turn a corner and run into a rebel. You instantly run your chain sword through him. It rips through him. You quickly turn the corner to see a dozen or so rebels. You immediately impale a couple of them. Your chain sword takes them out easily. A large number of them start firing at you. You are hit, but your new armor absorbs the impact. One bullet smacks into your armor, but you don't even feel it. You swing your sword, hacking off a few heads before they can even get a shot off. You quickly charge forward and impale a couple more. A heavy bolter shoots at you, but the Space Marine next to it gets in the way, taking the hit. You quickly impale a trio of them before they even realize what's happened. There are only 2 more rebels left. Seeing their comrades die breaks their morale. You quickly hurry forward and run your sword through one, while the other desperately tries to fire his autogun. You hack at him, before running him through. Your chain word disembowels him. Standing over the corpses, you notice Kiros looking ecstatic. Well done. Now we can continue. He walks over to one of the corpses and looks at it. You see how the Imperium is dying. The worthless loyalty, the pointless violence, the need to have a master. He turns to you, smiling. Now create your new empire. You say, what? You're a fucking heretic, die. Come on, men. We'll find a world to conquer. You mutter a curse under your breath. You knew something like this would happen. You draw your hotshot las pistol, which is an upgraded version of the normal las pistol, and fire point blank into Kiros' head, killing him. You raise your gun, firing at point blank range into Kiros' head, killing him. Well, that was unexpected, Meliodas says. You say, why would Kiros turn traitor? Who knows? I guess he saw an opportunity and took it. You look over at the corpse of Kiros. I can't believe it. You say, we've won then. You say we need to find the location of the main rebel base and destroy them. You're a leader now, I'm sure you can figure it out. You look around, allowing your men to start cleaning up the area, looting the dead and taking what they can. Fall in. You shout. You notice a few men walking towards your position. What's going on? You hear one ask. The Inquisitor has ordered us to fall in. Another replies. You say your Inquisitor is here. Yes, he just arrived with a couple bodyguards. They are meeting him in that house over there. You say I should meet with him. What do you think you're doing? A meeting would be good. Do you think I'll ask a few questions, find out what we're actually fighting, what our plans are, and so on. You check your gun. You grab your gun and check it. It's still well stocked. You put it back in your belt. All right, I'm ready. You go to the house that the Inquisitor is in to meet with him. You walk towards the house, noticing a few guards standing outside. Two men dressed in black carapace armor with red plates, a jet-like helmet with a snout and large red X on the forehead, holding rifles. They are blocking any entrance into the house. You approach one of the guards and ask if you can talk to the Inquisitor. The guard raises an eyebrow, before looking at the Inquisitor's bodyguard standing next to you. The guard nods. You move closer to the guards, and the nearest one begins to listen to you. You tell the guards that you are Captain Karth, leader of the Imperial Guard and Space Marine forces on the planet. The Inquisitor is expecting me. You say. The guard's eyes widen slightly, before looking down towards the ground again. You walk into the building to meet the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor is expecting you, Captain. He says. Good, let's go. You reply as you walk past the guards. We're not letting anyone in there who isn't the Inquisitor. The guard says. You need to speak with him. You walk into the building, the guards following you. You see a man in black robes and a skullcap, with a large winged cross pendant. You say, are you the Inquisitor? Yes. He says with a strange voice, not quite a whisper, but not like a man either. I'm Captain Karth, leader of the forces on this planet. You say, what brings you here? We have already started dismantling the rebel forces on this planet. I'm here to purge the planet of any remaining rebel scum. Tell me how your operations went. You explain the situation to him, and he nods, listening courteously. You say, we have not yet located the main rebel base. Do you know how many men you killed in total? You say, I personally killed around 30 rebels. My soldiers have killed maybe 1,000 of them. Well, that's enough. I can dispatch the rest with ease. Though we should make sure not to destroy this planet, lest we need to rebuild. You say, indeed. Well, if you let me search the area, I can easily dispatch the rebels. We'll be able to get this done quickly. You say, I'll give you whatever support you need. Good, let's get this done. He turns, walking into an elevator. Hold on, he says. The elevator doors open, revealing a large machine of death. The Inquisitor walks up to it, and begins to quickly type on a small keyboard mounted to the machine. The Emperor will reward you generously for this. He says. Suddenly, a large blade comes out of the machine, and beheads someone, who cries out. The Inquisitor rapidly begins typing on the keyboard again. You say, what the hell is this machine? It is a repressor, used to crush and dispose of those who would do harm to the Imperium. You need not be afraid. I'm not afraid. You say, I'm just cautious. Good, you should always keep your guard up, but fear not. The repressor is an ally. The Inquisitor begins to rapidly click the mouse button on a keyboard as the blade retracts. You say you'll use this machine against the rebels. It is one of the many weapons we'll use against the rebels, yes. Suddenly, a giant claw comes out of the machine and grabs a dying man, who screams as it crushes him. You say, why is this machine killing our own men? So they won't turn against us. As the claw raises the man up, another man is sent flying by the momentum, as his body is torn apart by small explosions caused by the machine. You say it can tell if they're traitors. It is a trusted ally. Suddenly, a jet of flames comes out of the claws, burning the first man it grabbed. See? The Inquisitor begins rapidly clicking the mouse button. You say, with this machine we will kill many traitors, it is a necessary tool in the service of the Emperor. Without us, the ground would be overrun by mutants and gangs. As long as we keep the population in check, the Emperor will win. You say, very well. I need to return to my men and keep searching for the rebels' base, as you wish. I'm sure they are waiting for you wherever they are. The Inquisitor takes a deep breath, then sighs. You salute the Inquisitor and leave. He returns your salute. You are a true servant of the Emperor, deaf to the enemies of mankind. You leave the room and quickly leave the fortress. You regroup with your soldiers. Your men regroup with you. Did you find what you were looking for? One of your men asks. I found out something interesting, I'll brief you later. You reply. You order your men to search the nearby apartment blocks and question any civilians they find for information about the rebels. You tell your men to search the nearby apartment blocks for any important rebel leaders. We need to find these traitors, innocent lives will be lost if we don't strike them now. We'll find them, Captain. Your men assure you. You say, just get the job done, we shouldn't stay here for too long, or well, you're right about that. You quickly take out a data slate and start tapping on it. You order it to scroll through several different news sources until you find something about a rebellion forming in Sector 5. You are standing in the street with a couple bodyguards as your soldiers search the apartments. These traitors will pay for their betrayal. You yell, looking upset. Suddenly you and your men are being shot at by a bunch of rebels on top of a nearby building. It is an ambush. You order your men to take cover, but they just fire back. You tell them to shoot for the head. You then order your men to charge while you lead the way. You fire your las pistol while running to the building the enemies are in. Your men fire lasguns as you run towards the building, which causes the rebels to take cover. You get in a few shots as well before you, your men, and the rebels are all hidden behind cover. You kick open the door to the building. You rush into the building, your men and the rebels all fire at each other. You run down the hall, taking cover behind desk and filing cabinets. You have your las pistol and chain word drawn. Suddenly a rebel comes running out from inside room. He is wearing a gas mask and heavy biological protection. You point your gun at him, but hesitate to fire for some reason. The rebel is unarmed for some reason which causes you to hesitate. Don't shoot. I'm no traitor, he shouts. You quickly realize he is a rebel though, as his uniform is covered with mud which denoted him as a soldier assigned to guard. You say, I don't believe you, die traitor, then you fire your las pistol at him. You fire your las pistol, and the rebel falls over dead. You see one of your other men standing behind a desk, and run over to him. It is a rebel cowering, scared and in a state of panic. You grab him by the throat and smash his head against the desk, killing him. The man had a wife and children, you imagine. You head upstairs to the roof where the rebels are firing down at your men. You head to the roof and take position behind a nearby chimney. The rebels don't notice you and continue fighting with your soldiers. Suddenly one of the rebels spots you and laughs. Well, someone has a sense of humor. You fire your las at him, but he is protected by a gas mask. You duck into cover and ready a grenade. You only have 2 left. You duck into a small side building and prepare to ambush the rebel. You draw your grenades and hide behind the door with your gun ready to fire. You toss one of the grenades at the line of rebels. You toss one of your grenades directly at the line of rebels. Most of them are killed instantly by the explosion, although a few survive and turn their attention towards you. You wait for them to reload and shoot at them with your las pistol. The rebels are dazed by the explosion and take a few moments to recover. You quickly draw your las pistol and aim at the rebels, who are slowly shaking off the gore of their former comrades. You hit one of the rebels directly in the head with a laser bolt from your las pistol. He lets out a pained yell and falls to the ground. The other is also distracted by the explosion from earlier, and you quickly shoot them, hitting their gas mask. The rebel is barely standing, and is stunned. You charge at him with your chain sword and stab him through the chest, sending him falling to the ground. You quickly survey the situation, and realize that some of your men are dead. Then you notice a small group of rebels have flanked your men during your fight. You quickly issue a new order to your men to prepare for a counterattack. As fighting continues, it gets darker and darker. You realize that it is dusk, the best time for an ambush. You look down from the rooftop at your men below who are fighting. You look down at the fighting taking place, and notice your usual guards are not there. The men you brought with you are still alive, and they are the only ones there. You quickly go down to give orders. The men are confused and many have wounds, some major, some minor. You try to inspire the wounded men. You say, "Get up. You won't let a bunch of traitors take you down. We are the hammer of the emperor. We will hold the line and fight back." The wounded men quickly stand up and fight with confidence. "We will not be beaten. We will hold the line here." One man says. You say, "Glory to the first man who dies." You say, "Glory to the first man who dies," and all your men quickly follow. The rebels are in a small half-circle formation. They have taken cover behind cars and rubble. You issue a command to your men, "Affix bayonets." "Affix bayonets." You say, and all your men quickly get into position. One of the rebels is waving a white flag on a stick. A black flag with a red cross appears in the center. You and your men charge with bayonets. You and your men charge out of cover, and into the open towards the rebels with your bayonets fixed. They are still in close range, however they have moved further into the open. You lead a bayonet charge into the enemy formation. You lead a bayonet charge towards the enemy while shouting, "For the Emperor and Imperium." You rush forward with the others stabbing and slashing at anyone in your path. It is a bloody close quarters fight. Soon you and your men are in the enemy formation. You and your men work well with each other, sticking together and working to wipe out the enemies. You take cover behind a car and look at the enemy. You stab and slash trough rebels with your chain sword in one hand and fire your las pistol in the other hand at the same time. You slash a rebel twice with your chain sword in one hand, as you keep the gun aimed. You use the other hand to reload your gun. You shoot the gun and blow a hole in one of the rebels' heads. You chop at a rebel with your chain sword and stab another one through the eye. Your men are inspired by your actions and begin performing acts of bravery. One stabs a rebel through the throat, while cutting off the wounded man's sword arm in the process. Another shoots a bolt through a rebel's head from long range. The rebels are almost all dead now, with you and your men in fierce combat with the few that have managed to survive. Soon only one man is left, a grizzled figure in a gas mask and dark red armor. You order your men not to kill him as you want to fight this last rebel yourself. You tell your men, "Don't kill him. I want to fight this man myself." You step out from behind the car and walk towards him. You point your chain sword at him and call him a traitorous dog. You slowly walk towards the man as you keep him in your sights. When you are close enough, you raise your chain sword and point it at him, "Traitor scum." You call out. You say, "Fight me like a man, draw your sword." You order the rebel to draw his sword, as you tell him to fight like a man. You walk towards him. As you arrive, you swing at him with your chain sword. He leans back out of the way. You swing again, and he blocks it with his sword. You step to the side and bring your sword around in a circle, slashing at him, but he keeps his distance. You dodge his sword and quickly kick him in the stomach. You quickly dodge his sword's blows and step to the side. You quickly slide one leg between his legs and trip him up. As he falls, you swing your sword down at his head, decapitating him instantly. You hear a distant alarm going off. Sergeant Polo calls out to you, "Hey. Company's coming." You turn around and see hundreds of rebels rushing towards the bunker. They aren't far off. You pick up the rebel leader's head and raise it in the air to intimidate the rebels who just arrived. You raise the rebel leader's decapitated head up in the air to display to the rebels, who are now within shouting range. They stop in their tracks and freeze, staring at you in awe. You know this has the effect you wanted as the rest of the rebels stop to see what is going on. You grunt out loud, "Traitor." You gesturing to the rebel leader's head, you say, "This is what happens to those who turn away from the Emperor's light." You gesture to the decapitated rebel leader's head and begin to taunt the rebels. The rebels are terrified of your display and begin to panic. You watch as hundreds of them turn and run. They run in terror for the fuel dump trucks. They race away as fast as they can. You stand there next to the rebel leader's body, still holding his head. This was a great victory. You stand next to the rebel leader's bloody body, a great victory. You watch as dozens of soldiers arrive and begin to assemble around you. You give a heroic speech. You give a speech to the assembled soldiers extolling the virtues of the Imperial Guard and the glorious duties they perform. You go on about how the Imperium is a force for good and how the Emperor will preserve mankind forever. You watch as the soldiers are inspired by your words, and they show greater resolve. To be continued. You look down at the decapitated rebel leader and his lieutenants, and you feel a great sense of pride in your victory.